Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So this is part one of the video where I'll be discussing as to where you can meet your spouse. Okay, so I've been since a long time we have been having discussions on the various implications of the seventh house of partnership and relationships. And in one of the comments, someone said that I should make a video on where I will be meeting my future spouse, your future husband or wife. So this is the video that is going to tell you all about it. Okay, but then before we begin, kindly subscribe to the channel, like the content if you find it useful, and please share it with your friends and family if you think that they can also benefit from whatever I'm going to share. Okay, all right. So the spouse and its and your implications of meeting the spouse is all denoted by the seventh house. Okay, and you can of course make your chart using any online Vedic astrology app, and you can find out your seventh house if you are not familiar with with astrology. And where you will meet your spouse or where to look for your spouse is determined by the placement of the ruler of the seventh house in various houses. Of course, in two previous videos, I've discussed what the various placements of the seventh house means in different houses. Okay, so this is regarding where you will meet your spouse. Okay, so if the ruler of the seventh house, if the seventh lord that is placed in the first house, then you will meet your future spouse by your own initiative. Okay, for example, he or she may see you somewhere, or maybe you went to a restaurant and he or she saw you and then followed you back on social networks and decided to to ping you or to text you personally. Okay, so in any case, all right, if you are having this placement, what it means is that instead of looking for your spouse, try to engage yourself in various social activities. Okay, show yourself to the world so that your spouse can see you for himself or herself. Okay, don't wait for your spouse to appear. Just go out there and enjoy your life. That is the best way to bring your spouse into your life if you have the seventh lord in the first house. Okay, now if the seventh lord is in the second house, then you will meet your spouse in any event which is related to finance, investment, or if you're attending some seminar or webinar on how to make money, or if you are doing some activity related to commerce. Okay, there is also an opportunity to meet your future spouse if you are engaged in buying or selling something, or if you are you can also meet your future spouse maybe while going to a cooking class or maybe a cooking show as such. Okay, now if the seventh lord is in the third house, then you have to look for your spouse by correspondence, communicate in social networks, go to visit your friends and neighbors. Okay, while making friends with neighbors around you, while making short distance travels, while doing short distance travels, while attaining training programs, while doing group studies, while going on excursions or any short trip. Okay, so it's very much possible that if your seventh lord is placed in the third house, you can meet your spouse on the road, on the train, or even on the plane if you are doing short distance traveling. Now, if your seventh lord is in the fourth house, then you can meet your spouse amongst invited guests to your home. If you have friends, whom you have invited along with a few common friends to your home, or if you are having a house party, then maybe you can meet your spouse there. Okay, and if you have this placement, then make sure that you visit the weddings and anniversaries of all your relatives. Okay, you take holidays, you go on holidays with your friends, because those are the places where you can actually meet your future spouse. Now, if your seventh lord is in the fifth house, okay, then it's a huge field. It just opens up the areas where you can meet your spouse. Okay, and remember that if you're having this placement of the seventh lord in the fifth house, then firstly you'll definitely fall in love with your future spouse. Okay, and you can meet your future spouse in areas where you go out for where you go to hangouts. okay, where you go to hang out with your friends, or where you are going to, in gymnasiums, in cinema halls, in beauty parlors, and so on, concerts, theaters, and movies. Okay, I've seen this placement in a person who had this seventh lord in the fifth house, and she met her future spouse while playing a online computer game. Okay, that happened during the lockdown period, by the way. So you can meet your spouse in comedy clubs, in restaurants, in bars, in vacations, in parties, in anniversaries. Remember, go if you want to meet your spouse, then you need to go to places where people have fun. Okay, in a restaurant, in a nightclub, or even in a karaoke club, and so on. Okay. Now, if the ruler of the seventh house, that means if the seventh lord is in the sixth house, then the easiest way to look for the spouse is at work, among colleagues. Okay. You can also meet your spouse in vet clinics or doctor clinics. Okay. And you can also look for your spouse among doctors or people in helping professions, maybe in social workers, among social workers. Okay. And if you have this placement, there is also a possibility that you will meet your spouse amongst some psychologist or some astrologer you will be consulting for your needs or for your purposes. Okay. So these are the various places where you can meet your spouse, and in the next video we'll be covering from the remaining placements of the seventh lord. That means we'll be covering from the seventh house to the 12th house. Okay, so that's it from me in this video. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already, and I'll see you soon in the next part of this video. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.